So, honey child, this is good. Let's go.
Okay. So, yes. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If this is your first time, I'm Elsie and this is
Tony.
Today we're talking about a very interesting topic, if I say so myself. About
why do so many relationships break down?
yeah. And this I feel like this should be of interest to a lot of people, because I see many of us are in relationships. Not many of us, but like many people.
We hasten to clarify. Yeah, but yeah, it's something that affects young, middle-aged, and old
like
people
it
as
cuts
well.
across like all sorts of demographic, young, old, whatever. So it's something that people would be interested in.
And it's something that could affect you. But it's true, yeah.
It can affect anybody.
At anybody's stage, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
why do relationships fail?
why do they break down? Well,
Yeah.
there's no one single answer, obviously, because the details of every individual case may be the same.
True.
It may be stupidity, it may be cruelty, it may be abuse, it may be unrealistic
Financial
expectations,
constraints, inflation.
Yeah. So badly behaved children, can put an awful strain on
Substance abuse, like alcohol and
Poof. The list sort of goes on, but I mean, ultimately, it's very, very hard for human beings to maintain a faithful, loving, monogamous relationship for a lifetime without any particular strength or input from outside, because we run out of energy. We run out of spiritual and psychological energy as well, out of loving energy, if you like. And
even physical energy, like tired for other things.
We're not talking about physical loving energy, are we? Oh, there again you could. But it's funny actually that even on that score, the psychological energy, if you like, the spiritual energy, is the lack of that actually, if you like, if a person feels out of love with their partner, they're turned off, they're not likely to be sort of really, wow, let's get her on tonight, So that's true. It does have that effect. And when you think the promises that are made, the people who they have so many expectations, so many hopes, and most of the people who either get into a long-term relationship or get married or whatever, they're not consciously wanting to deceive anyone. They really want a relationship to work. They're being sincere.
Yeah, at the beginning, when all the feelings are wishy-washy, you're like, yeah, of course I will take on the world for you. Not talking out of experience or anything.
All these disclaimers, but there we go. No, it's true. There's all that, because then there's a combination of a big combination of hormones, and I'm just trying to think something else. No, hormones and more hormones,
and
probably.
More hormones,
again. But these play a sort of a huge part in the decision, and of course they've got to play a part in the decision. But when they play such a big part in the decision, then when other problems arise, the hormones aren't sufficient to get you through. That's what's happened. And looking at some statistics recently, I mean, good God, we're talking probably about 60% or more of so-called stable relationships breaking down, and the disappointments and the hurt that can be there, especially when there's children involved, as to who they're going to stay with, oh dear me.
The instability like it creates for kids. Do you think
go on.
No, I was just going to ask that, do you think that, because marriage, like the whole idea of marriage is becoming more and more unpopular, especially in the Western world. I wouldn't say unpopular where I come from, because like people still take marriage very, like it's still a very traditional thing.
Yeah.
But in the Western world, I'd say like marriage is becoming more and more unpopular, and then people just say, oh, it's just a paper, as long as you both respect each other. Do you think that marriage can do you think that's a reason for these relationships breaking down? Do you think getting married can, like, because you're committed to the person, then it makes you want to work it out, it makes you want to, whereas if you're not committed, like just in a relationship, you can just walk away.
You can walk away from it, that's sure. Well, it's true in any field of human endeavour. If we want to really sort of hang in there, we do need to make a commitment. Whether it's for training, for a sport, for doing anything else, we need to make a commitment. Otherwise we don't get the good results. But as to whether marriage can certainly improve one's chances, I mean, it's a terrible thing to have to see that marriages are breaking down at over 40% and rising. And for me, that's what's even worse, is that figure is basically the same for Christians who believe that marriage is for life, for better, for worse, that it's a gift from God. Well, come on, what's happening? And I think that the big thing that's happening is that, once again, people who are not doing it insincerely, we do believe that, but they've got unrealistic expectations and unrealistic confidence in their own ability to hang in there, not just for the better times, but for the worst times as well. And, for anybody who's listening, who's in a relationship or thinking of being in a relationship, marriage has got a lot of problems, as we know.
Really?
But it still statistically gives you a better shot at being together and being happy than staying together just without any commitment. Go on, you were going to say something.
No, I was just listening to the advice, because it was like, because you're giving advice to whoever is listening and wants to be in a relationship. So I was like listening to. But like, so would you say that? Because I mean, what's the difference between just living together and, because you would agree with me that there are people who are married, like there are people who are just cohabiting, living in far more like happier relationships than people who are married.
Sure.
So I wouldn't say that just the label being put on it is what makes or breaks the relationship or the marriage or whatever it is. So I'm thinking that there's like like more underlying factors that would make or break a relationship.
Sure.
That, because obviously there are people who are cohabiting that are like that are working out.
Of course.
And people who are married that are working out and not working out.
I know, sure.
So we wouldn't say that just because you're married that it would work out.
No, absolutely not. No. Only saying that it gives you a better shot at it.
Yeah.
So you move the odds significantly in your favour by that, because of the degree of commitments that are made, the family relationships, the inter-family relationships, if you like, all that, children coming along, economic relationships, whatever, there's all these things. And and some people say, well, hang on, is that a good reason to stay together? Well, it's not a bad reason for staying together, actually. It's better if people can keep alive a feeling of love and respect and desire for the other person as well. But these other things are needed as well for the marriage or the relationship to survive.
Yes.
It's very hard for a relationship to survive if there isn't those other things in place. And you've just got two people looking at each other and saying, I love you, I love you. Well, that's great. But, can you still do that when the cold wind blows 10 years down the track?
Yes.
Yes. It's...
I think I was telling you about a video I watched where the two people were exchanging the vows, and then so the pastor was like, for richer, for poorer, and then the lady was like, for richer, and then everyone was laughing, but then I was like, well,
that's my kind of...
well, it's on a lighter note. It's funny, right?
Are you saving that script, Elsie?
No, like if only like we wish, right, that like for the like all the days of our lives, like it would just be honey flowing, blessings upon blessings upon blessings, for better.
Yeah.
But then this is life, right? Like, you know, there are ups and downs, and I think you mentioned like that sometimes people go into marriage or into relationships without reality. Like we are not really faced, like we don't really come to terms with reality. We're like, yeah, for richer, for poorer. But like, do you really believe, like, do you actually know that there might be a time that you like, and when for poorer, I might not even be in terms of money, it might be in terms of health.
Yeah, sure.
In terms of it could be,
how would you feel
when the person is mentally poor? Would you still be there?
If they're suffering from dementia, would you still feel that you're bound by your marriage vow?
Yeah.
If they had an accident or a disease and they need to be pushed in a wheelchair,
would you still?
Yeah. And that's where a commitment can help you. But there's other things obviously which can help.
Yeah.
But of all the things 2 points here. One, cohabiting. We've talked about cohabiting in relation, comparing it to marriage.
Yeah.
But one aspect of cohabiting where people cohabit and then marry afterwards. Now, interestingly enough, the whole idea, when it was introduced basically to Western society at large, that yes, you should cohabit before marrying. Why? To find out if you're compatible. And by compatible, it meant sexually compatible more than anything else.
Right.
Fair enough. Now, you would think that with the huge number of people, vast majority who are cohabiting, and then some of them decide to get married, you would think that having done all that sort of experimentation and finding out the person was the right one for them would give them an excellent chance of an ongoing stable relationship.
Of staying for life,
But in actual fact, it doesn't. Because statistically, your marriage is more likely to break down if you have cohabited before marriage. I'll say that again. Your marriage is more likely to break down if you cohabited before marriage.
Yeah.
Now, what the reasons for that are, maybe because, well, you've not regarded it as something so special, sacred, unique. Whereas when there's that period beforehand where the pleasures of marriage, you feel like, are not taken before the wedding. It might sound very old-fashioned, but once again,
it does sound old-fashioned.
It works. That's the point. So if anyone is interested in what gives them and their beloved the best chance of success, that's it.
Yeah.
And then once again, if you choose to go down that route, it's like whether you choose to wear a crash helmet on your bike or not. This gives you the best chance of survival. This gives you the best chance of keeping your relationship going. But I've learned one other thing as well in terms of keeping a relationship going. And you think, well, with bearing in mind with a marriage failure rate of more than 40%, and a stable relationship rate of failure rate of nearly 60%, this is what could improve those figures. And one thing which jumped out at me was that I said already that Christians suffer the same sort of percentage of marriage breakdowns.
Unfortunately,
And that is a real shame. I feel that shame too as a Christian myself and as somebody whose own marriage failed when I didn't understand what I understand now. But the statistic that I absolutely had to check and double check because it seemed too good to be true was if Christians who are not just with the label around their neck, or even those who go to church regularly, but if they do something, a little 5-minute trick every night, it can alter the odds to an unbelievable extent. And I'm a very practical person, apart from sort of embracing spirituality. So practical. At the end of each day, before turning in, the two people have made a commitment on their wedding day or before that whatever happens in their life, they're going to spend 5 minutes together, asking each other to forgive each other for whatever they have hurt each other in that. And if they can't fully manage it, at least to say, I know I need to do this, I'm working on it, we used to feel a great lot of love for each other, hang in there, it'll happen. And that's a practical thing for the simple reason that no misery, no resentment can get a chance to sort of fester because it's under 24 hours old. And nobody gets divorced on the strength of 24 hours of bad behavior from one person.
It's
when it builds up and
compounded.
festers.
It's just like, you did this 2 years ago, and then you did it last year, then you did it 6 months ago, and then you keep doing it, and I can't take it anymore.
That's right. So there's the one practical aspect.
That makes so much sense.
Well, the other practical aspect is, now we're talking here about Christians who say they believe in God. Okay, if you have a friend, and a good friend, and you need something which the friend can help with, your friend would not be likely to refuse you if it's something reasonable and they can do it. Okay. Now, for a Christian who says they believe in God, what happens if they ask God to help them in that situation? Still in the 5 minutes, well in the 5 minutes, because is that something that God can do? Okay, is that something that God wants to do? And if a couple are willing to receive that, to admit they need help, to ask for that help, well then, that help flows into the relationship. Now, don't take my word for it. You can Google this. And, the failure rate for marriages where people are willing to spend that 5 minutes a day, specifically, though, with not just saying set-piece prayers, but this business about forgiving each other.
Yeah.
If they're willing to do that, the statistics are absolutely amazing. We're talking about less than 0.1% or less than 0.03%, depending on which survey you read.
Yeah.
But, 1%? It's 1 out of 0.01%?
Yeah,
1 out of 1,000?
1 out of 1,000.
1 out of 1,000 instead of 400.
Yeah.
Wow. So, it's certainly worth looking at to see whether that could be of any use to anybody,
Yeah.
And if there's something that somebody knows which it can give a better chance of success than that, then fine, let us know.
We want to know,
Please do
definitely
let us know.
Want to know. You talking about what, like, the one thing that at least works that could give you a better chance at your marriage and at your relationship when it's at a young stage is praying and talking to each other and then believing God to to solve whatever problems that you're going through. It makes me think of like anytime I'm in the car and then like someone does something silly that they just flash their hazard light.
Yeah.
Right? In my mind I'm like, I really wish that's what life was like. That like because it's so easy, right? Like the person just flashes the hazard light and then you're like, oh, it means he's saying sorry. But in a marriage you cannot do that, really. Like you can't just say sorry and not mean it, like know, and you can't like and if like whether the other if you flash your hazard lights, whether the person accepts your sorry or not, you don't really care, you just drive away. Right? But then in your marriage, if you say I'm sorry, you need to mean it. And you need to be willing to do something about whatever your significant other or your partner is complaining about. Right. And on the other hand, your partner also needs to be willing to forgive you. Sure. Because the person can't just walk away from...
But this is why it needs to be this joint commitment that both agree on before taking marriage vows, to agree on that this is what we're going to do, because this is going to be like a field hospital where we get treatment on the field so that it doesn't go worse before we get you to the hospital. And if you agree on that, and even times when you may not feel able to forgive, then in which case to look at the other person and say, I want to forgive, the best part of me wants to forgive, I don't feel able to just now. So please hang in there, because we used to feel a great lot of love for each other. And once again, the God we both believe in, that love can resurface again. And it can be stronger this time. But we have to sort of do our bit, and our bit is being willing to let go. And if we're willing to let go, sure, that doesn't mean we've got to accept being abused or sort of not at all. But to people making that commitment, and as I say, go back to that. Whichever survey you read, it's definitely less than 1% allow for error. Let's say they got it wrong by 50%, okay, it's 2 out of 100 out of 1,000.
Yeah.
Another one for a margin of error, 3 out of 1,000, you know.
That's still
we're still a long way off 400.
Yeah.
I mean, good God, if it was 300 out of 1,000, it would still be good. You see, wow, we've cut it down by 25%. But to cut it down by sort of orders of magnitude like that, well, that really gives a chance of happiness and security and a lovely environment to bring up kids as well, because they're getting a lesson for life too, as to how mum and dad can fight through their difficulties and how forgiveness is a very, very important thing in life.
Yeah.
And, you know, they can extrapolate from that as well as to how, if their forgiveness is there, we wouldn't be involved in so many wars with other nations and all the rest of it if there was a bit of mutual love, respect and forgiveness, you know?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Well,
so
on that beautiful note, make sure you pray with your partner tonight. We've come to the end of our program.
But I haven't got a partner.
Pray with your pillow.
Pray with your pillow. Okie dokie.
But yeah, I mean, try it. And if you have any other, like, you know, any other suggestions that you think would work apart from prayer, we definitely would want to know.
Absolutely.
Put in the comments. Yeah. If you've watched up to this point, I'm guessing that you're enjoying the program. So kindly like, comment, subscribe.
And share.
And until next time, it's bye for now.
Bye.
If you like this video, kindly like, comment and subscribe. You can also find us on other social media platforms, on Twitter at Talk with Tony and on Instagram at talkwithtony.live. Don't forget, live, laugh and most importantly, love. Watch out for the next video. It's bye for now.